Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the Railway and welcome to another review. Now last week I did a bit of an American themed week and I really enjoyed doing it, so I thought this week I would do something similar, but this time a European week. So I'm going to kick it off today with a review slash unboxing of a very cheap, very inexpensive European wagon pack. So a little while ago now I was talking to Callum Wilcox on Facebook, I think it was, and the thing you have to understand about Callum is that he's full of bargains, and if you talk to him too many times in a week you'll end up going broke, you know what I mean, it's that bad. And I went to Worley with him, spent a lot of time at Worley, and he was responsible for a lot of my purchases there, so you've got to be careful around him. Anyway, he was telling me about a real bargain that he'd found on eBay, and he was telling me about it. He says you can get 8 wagons in a pack really inexpensively, and he says they're European wagons. Well, I thought, well, hang on, I've got a couple of European locos which I'm going to review soon, and I thought it would be lovely to get some European rolling stock to run with them. So he showed me a link to this, and it is a Roco 8 wagon pack. Now, I don't really know very much about Roco. I don't believe I've ever shown one of their products before, but this wagon pack came recommended by Callum, and I thought for the price I will give this a try, and you won't believe the price. This was less than 50 quid, this was £49.95, and they're still available now. If you want to pick yourself one up, you need to take to eBay and look up the Manchester Model Shop, and they have these for £49.95. This is a German version from the DB, I think, which stands for Deutsche Bundesbahn or something like that. Hopefully I said that right. But there's one from Holland. There's all sorts of different European rolling stock available. But I thought 8 wagons for less than 50 quid can't be bad, can it? So I'm going to unbox these today. We're going to find out what these are like. A massive thank you to Callum Wilcox for the recommendation. Go subscribe to his channel, SNDJR7F88, and hopefully if these are good we'll be quite pleased with Callum today. So let's check this out, and I hope they're pretty good. Alright, so thinking about this then, so if we're talking 50 quid for 8 wagons, I think it is 6, 7, yes, so 8 wagons, what's that? That works out at £6, 20 something each, so that is very inexpensive, and in fact in the UK at least it's basically unheard of to pick up rolling stock for £6 each. In fact, the only way you can really do that is if you go for the Hornby Railroad stuff, and as you know that is quite basic. However, here we are with 8 wagons at about £6 something each, which basically places them at about the same price as that Hornby Great Western Shunters truck I looked at, and of course most of these are you know, considerably larger than those Shunters trucks. So I don't know what to expect. I'm thinking these are going to be something like the Hornby Railroad range, but I'm willing to be surprised, and I can already see certain features on these which get me quite excited as far as rolling stock goes. Yes, metal wheels is what I can see so far. So I've got a really good feeling about this, and as I say, if Callum recommends these, they're going to be good, aren't they? So let me show you the end of the box then. So the product number is 44002, and it's DB, as I've already said, and then that's basically all the box tells you. There's a little icon there with some wagons on it, but apart from that, it is a bit of a mystery. So for the first time ever, let's get this out, and let's find out what these wagons are like. Now, I think the top of the box is just going to slide off, is it? Not that. Yeah, it does. Okay, so there they are. They're all nicely packaged, as you can see. No blocks of ice, no blister packaging or anything, but that's absolutely fine. They do seem to be cushioned quite nicely with the foam. So I'm hoping this little information pack... Ooh, okay, so I was going to say we will take a look at the instructions, but we've already got something here. So it's something on a sprue. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like a fence. Right, well, we'll take a look at the instructions then and see if they shed some light on that. Alright, Roco it says. Okay, well it's mostly in German, it looks like, so that side isn't too helpful, and there is a bit of a diagram here. Ah, right, I see, so it's something to do with one of the wagons that has, like, I don't know what you call it, something to hold the load in place anyway that you'd have to stick onto the wagon. So yeah, that's probably what you have to do. I might not do that today, I might try it one day though, but yeah, that's that. So now we know what those are for, and with that, let's start taking some of these out then. So let's have a look at the one that's closest to me first. Alright. Gosh, so there is a lot of detail on this thing, and I can tell already that this is way above the likes of the Hornby Railroad stuff. Wow, it's quite heavy. I mean, the weight's not massively impressive, but there is some weight there. But look, on the underside, we have got metal wheels, as I've already said, which is really, really good to see. And there's also NEM couplings, and they're sort of articulated. Look at those. Those couplings swing left and right. So they're really, really not the level of Hornby Railroad stuff. They're way above. And as you can see, there's loads and loads of printed detail on this. So that's pretty good. That looks like some sort of... I don't really know what it'd be for, to be honest. Maybe some sort of lumber or something like that. Perhaps it is lumber if you've got those supports that you put in. Maybe they would hold large planks or something in place. But either way, that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at this wagon here then. This is a slightly smaller one. Right, let's see. They're all well packaged, by the way. Okay, so again, we've got a nice little open wagon here. It's only, you know, a few planks tall, so that's very, very nice. Again, it's got the same couplings, it's got the same metal wheels, and there's an awful lot of detail on this. These are proving to be really good for £6 each. That is a really decent wagon. And of course, we're not onto the big stuff yet. So we've got another open wagon here. They're all different, by the way, it looks like. I can't see, well, maybe those two are the same, but apart from that, they all seem to be different. So it's a great way to get started with some German or European rolling stock. So there we go, a slightly larger wagon there, much the same in terms of the level of detail, very well detailed. I like the couplings, as I say. It's got decent buffers. I will show you some of these up close, so I won't go into too much detail right now. But again, yeah, that's pretty decent. The underframe looks very detailed, doesn't it? Look at that. So yeah, that's brill. Right, let's have a look what's next. So we've got one of the vans next, so let's have a look at this. All right, well wrapped up again. So this is even heavier. Now, what's this on here then? So again, there's no real clue as to what goes inside here, but it is obviously for some sort of freight, obviously. But yeah, there we go once again. It's got a nice silver painted roof on this thing. Really, really not bad. I mean, the roof's come off, in fact. There we go, so you can see inside. Hopefully this roof just clips back in place, or does it? It's a little bit loose, that roof. But no, it has, it's popped back on, so that's all right. So there we go, yeah, a nice box van there, which is very nice. They're all brown so far, but if you look at some of the other packs that are available, there are some different colours, although we have one different coloured van there, as you can see. Okay, so this is similar to one we've already looked at. Yeah, that's another one of those taller open wagons. But again, just the detail is leaving me lost for words, really. I mean, obviously we've seen detailed rolling stock before, but not often for such inexpensive prices. So that's very good, yeah. Okay, so now let's have a look at some of this larger stuff then. So, what does this say on the side? It says sea fish, which I assume makes it some sort of fish van, maybe? Let's have a look, see if we can't get this out. So there we are, what I think must be a ventilated fish van, or something of the sort. This isn't just the same as the other wagon, by the way, that we've looked at, the other box van. It is larger, so it's different altogether. And again, good level of detail. We've got those metal wheels again, NEM couplings. So I could, if I wanted to, on the front wagon, I could put a sort of Hornby coupling and use it with any of my engines. But I do have a few European engines that I can use these with. But there we go, yeah, Seelfish, which I think must mean fish. If there's anybody that speaks German or is German out there, you can probably let me know whether there's any truth to that or not. Okay, so this is an interesting looking wagon. Let's try this one, shall we? They seem to be coupled together at the bottom here, which is a bit of a pain, but I can probably get them uncoupled. There we are. Oh my word, this thing is crazy. Look at this. So there's like bins that open. Well, that's very cool. They actually work. That's really cool. Now, I don't know what this is for. If anybody knows, there we go. That's your trivia question. What would this be for? I would guess it's some sort of waste disposal thing, because obviously if you're going to be chucking stuff into there, which might be the idea, it's not going to be valuable cargo, or I suppose it could be some sort of parcels van or something where they would chuck stuff in the top there. But yeah, I don't know, but that is cool. I wasn't expecting that. So you can actually open up the lids and put stuff inside. That is really, really cool. And again, so inexpensive for so many separately fitted moving parts there. That's crazy. Okay, and we're on to the last wagon, folks. We are on to the very last one. But there we go. Yep, we have another box van there. Is that the same as one we've already looked at? I don't know. Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, it looks similar to that one. Perhaps it's... No, it's not. No, I think it's not quite as tall. It is different again. But yeah, it's another box van there. Lots of detail on it, lots of tiny little parts. So really quite happy with this as far as a wagon pack goes. Let's get them all back into shot for you then. There we are. Let's see. So, Yep, there certainly is 8, and for £6 each, I'm certainly very, very happy with those. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to pick 3 of my favourites, and I'm going to show you those up close on the white background to give you a good idea of what the detail's like. But I think you can probably get a good idea already, and it's certainly not bad at all, is it? So let's have a look. So here it is then. This is the first of the German wagons I unboxed. This is the long one that's supposed to have the sort of goods holding spikes put into the side. I haven't put those in yet, but I might do one day, who knows. So I think given the price I paid for these, it would be insane to expect a massive amount of detail, and that's true. There isn't a huge amount of detail. Certainly there's not a massive amount of separately fitted detail. However, there's an awful lot more than I was expecting for the price, let's put it that way. So let's take a look at the painted detail, and if I just sort of pan across here, you can see just how many separate printed parts there are on this thing, which is really quite impressive, and it's all done to a very high standard. And as you can see, the moulding is quite complex as well. You can really see all of these gaps along the bottom here, which actually show through to the underframe. And speaking of the underframe, there is a little bit of underframe detail there. You can see some of the support structure there, and in fact if I flip it over onto its back, you can get a bit of a view of the underframe, which again is quite detailed considering you'll never ever see it while it's running, of course. But either way, it is there, and that is very good. And of course, once again, I think I've talked enough about the metal wheels and the NEM couplings, but you could see those there if you wanted a closer look. And inside you can see we do have the plank effect on the bottom, but we don't have anything like that on the sides, on the walls, which is fair enough, I suppose, but something to bear in mind. The detail at each end is really quite similar. You've still got the plank effect going on there, and also those buffers, but I don't think the buffers are sprung. Let's just double check though. No, those buffers aren't sprung. But either way, from any sort of distance, this thing looks like a super detailed model, and if you're looking for some German rolling stock, then that is absolutely perfect. Okay, let's take a look at one of the vans then, shall we? Alright, so here's one of the smaller of the vans, and as you can see, just the moulded detail is very impressive. There's an awful lot of wood panelling there. You can see though that most of the detail is just part of the moulding. There isn't anything separately fitted, at least on the sides, and that goes for the door handles and the supports and all that sort of thing. So they are quite basic in that sense. However, once again, there is an awful lot of printed detail on the sides here, and in fact all of the wagons are the same in that regard. They've all got, you know, the full printing detail on them. And the moulding is quite complex, as I've already said, and if we look here, you've also got these little pieces here. I don't know what those would be. I would have thought they almost look like they're those little mirrors, similar to what that Helgen Metropolitan Bobo loco had. But I don't know that they'd be mirrors. I can't imagine why they would be. But either way, those are quite nicely, finely moulded pieces. And again, the underframe detail is quite similar on this as well. And if I flip it over, you can see that it's got all the same detail that the other one has. So I would say consistency is really good on this set. You tend to find with, for example, the Hornby train packs and wagon packs, at least the ones I've had, some of them have had different couplings, different levels of detail. I mean, take the Excalibur train pack, by the way, they've all got different couplings on them. But these are exactly the same. They've all got the same wheels, the same NEM couplings. Really good and consistent. So finally then, here's one of the more complex wagons, and I say more complex because, as you know, it does have these opening doors on the top, which are obviously separately fitted. And most of these wagons don't really have an awful lot of separately fitted detail to them, but this one is obviously a bit different in that regard. Obviously, the bulk of the detail is just moulded, as you can see, but at least very well moulded, and it is quite... I don't know, it's just very convincing, isn't it, to look at this? You would believe that this is a real thing. Again, the same level of excellent printed detail, and I'll just show you the ends there so you can see what those look like. Really good quality, by the way, as well. Some of the roofs have popped off on some of the vans and things, but that's not really an issue with quality because it's not damaged. You can just pop it straight back on and that's absolutely fine. So really quite pleased with these. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the level of detail. And the other wagons, the other 5 or so wagons, are basically exactly the same in terms of the level of detail. So what we'll do now is I'll try and get these all railed up onto the track and we'll see how they sort of perform. Alright, so there they all are then down onto the ground, and I tell you what, that looks like an awful lot of wagon there, doesn't it, for the money? So what I've done is I've set up a loco down onto the track with matching couplings. I believe this is a Prussian G4 from Fleischmann, please correct me if I'm wrong. Apparently these wagons are era 3 wagons, if I've read that correctly. I'm not absolutely sure what era this loco would be from, so whether or not we're getting absolute realism here, I'm not too sure. But either way, we'll certainly be able to test and see if these wagons are any good on the track. So now I've got the difficult decision of choosing which one I'm going to put on first. Let's try this one. So I've gone for the sort of smallish open wagon. So let's put it onto the track and just see how it rolls. And that's absolutely fine. In fact, there's very, very, very little drag there. As you can see, that runs along quite happily. So let's try and get the rest of these on then, shall we? And we'll see how long a train it makes. It should be reasonably long because some of these wagons are quite large. So let's see if I can get this to couple. There we are. That's coupled well. And the articulated coupling, the moving coupling, ought to be quite reliable, I would have thought, on curves. Okay, so let's put 2 of the vans on now, shall we? I'll try and make it a little bit random. Oh, there's quite a lot of spring there, I've noticed. Look at that. So if you let go, it springs. God, they're very, very good quality couplings, I must say. Right, let's put the other slightly smaller wagon on, and you should see the size difference now. And they couple so beautifully as well. They just literally go right together. Look at that. Well, we'll put them all on and we will see if that spring effect goes across the whole train. Okay, so there we have... Ooh, that one's not coupled quite as easily. Let's try again. There we go. So that's the longish sort of wagon. Let's put the cool one on now with the opening bins, or whatever we're going to call it. I'm not absolutely sure what they're for. If you know, do let me know, of course. Yep, that's still all in shot. Yeah, let's go with the other box van. There we are. And what I think I'm going to do now is get the Roco to move this whole lot forwards a smidge, just so that we can get it all in shot. Right. Now I've just noticed that one of these couplings on the interesting bin wagon is a bit bent, but it seems to have coupled okay. Right, let's get this Roco to just pull forwards a bit. There we are, and we will put the last of the wagons on. So we've got the 2 identical open wagons on last. So let's put those on. Ah, they just couple so nice and easily. He says, oh yeah, no, that has done. And as you can see, look at that. You can pull quite a way back and they spring forwards again. So they are decent couplings. Okay, let me move the camera then and I will try and show you the whole lot in one go. So as you can see, I am struggling to get this all into the shot. It really does make a great big train. So for less than 50 quid, well, 5 pence, less than 50 quid. So not much less, but still less nonetheless. I think I need to stop saying less, don't I? It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. The quality is very good. The detail is definitely more than adequate, I would say, for the price. And they do seem to run nice and freely. But for now, let's see if this little G3 can manage them, this little Fleischmann. Right, let's take a look then and see how they run on curves and things. Hopefully they'll work quite nicely. Alright, so here it goes, coming towards the first curve. And it seems... Well, I'm not going to say anything at all until it's done the curve, but it has now, and it seems as though that is absolutely fine. And this engine that's hauling them, it's only quite a small engine, but because there's so little drag in the train, it's running as though it hasn't got a load at all. It is just managing them so easily. So they seem to run absolutely perfectly. Here we are. I've got some second radius there. Let's see if they go over that okay. Yeah, they're just fine. I mean, those couplings are articulated, as you know. They move, so there's just no issues at all. They just run so solidly. So yes, overall I'm very, very happy with those, and I can't wait really to get some more European engines to run them with. So I thought even though this is just a rolling stock review, I wouldn't cheap out and just not run anything else. So on the middle line we have the Hornby Terrier. Now, technically speaking, the UK's in Europe. You wouldn't know it, but it is. So the Terrier is a European locomotive, I would say, and it's got some Pullman coaches. And then on the inside line, we have a locomotive. I think this is a 282. Yeah, or it might be a 482. No, I think it is a 282. Now, this is a Lima one. I believe it's from France, so European. Although, technically speaking, well, let me just bring it back into shot. I haven't finished talking about you yet, Mr. French Engine. I think, technically speaking, these were built in America. I'm pretty sure somebody, at least, told me that these are American-built. But they did run over in France as, well, presumably heavy freight locomotives. But I have put some European coaches on, some, I think they're Orient Express coaches, sleeper cars. She's a very angry engine, as you can probably hear. Yeah, not too happy, but she does run alright, so let's have a quick run with these then. So I've really enjoyed this. It has left me wishing, though, that we could get, you know, large packs of freight like this in the UK for such low prices. 8 British wagons, for example, in a pack for 50 quid would be amazing, and I'm sure that would sell super well. Oh well, maybe Roco will produce some British stuff. I very much doubt it, but it would be nice if they did. Here comes the angry Frenchman. Yeah. Definitely an odd model, that one, but it does seem to work, as you can tell, more or less. There we go, we've got the Hornby Terrier. Do like that one, it is a good runner, as you can see. And I've just had a funny thought, you know, I actually think the Angry Frenchman is quite a good name for a train, isn't it? You've got the Flying Scotsman, so we could have the Angry Frenchman as well. And that certainly is an angry engine. It's certainly not a quiet runner, that. So here are some of my ratings then for the Roco German wagon pack. So detail, I've given this a 3.5 stars. I think that's about fair enough. Now they've certainly spared no expense on the printed detail, and also the moulded detail on most of these wagons is really, really convincing. So for the money, they're really, really good. However, most of the detail is just moulded. There's a very, very small amount of separately fitted work on these, but I think once again for the money, that's absolutely fine. Performance-wise, it has to be a 5-star. They just work perfectly. I've had these running around for quite a good while now. They handle tight curves, they handle difficult point work or whatnot without any problems at all, and they've got metal wheels and they've got proper good sprung couplings. And to be honest with you, they just work. There's nothing more to be said about that. They just work as they're supposed to, which is all you could ask for. So that's that. Mechanism we don't talk about because there is no mechanism on these. The quality has to be a 4 out of 5 as well. Generally speaking, they are very good quality models. They are a little bit plasticky in places, but they hold together quite nicely. And overall, I would say they do at least look pretty hard wearing. So I'm going to give that 4 stars there. Good quality. And finally then, quite obviously, for £49 for the whole lot, which works out at £6 something each, that has to be very, very good value, especially considering how good these are and the different features they've got. So I'll give them that 5 stars, and overall then that is 8.45 out of 10, and I think it deserves that, to be honest. It really is a good train pack. So there we are then, folks. I really hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to let me know down in the comment section what you thought about this wagon pack. I'm really pleased with it, to be honest with you. And I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is for the money. So once again, a massive thank you to S&DJR7F88 for letting me know all about this. But for the time being, folks, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your company, and I will see you on Saturday, I think, with a European locomotive review. Some people have been asking for this one. I'm not going to say any more right now, but you will find out very soon what that's going to be. So thanks again for watching, folks, and I will see you next time. Cheers, everybody.